Hi, it's Laura, and welcome back to segment 2 of treating your business like a business. So bear with me. I'm going to jump to the slide where we left off. We are working right now on the learning objective 1, branding yourself and knowing your client. So remember, part of branding yourself is being able to clearly identify, clearly send the message of who you are, what's important to you, what you stand on, and how you want people to perceive you, right? So you should have been able to create a pretty comprehensive list. Hopefully you've come up with 10, 15, maybe even 20 words, expressions on what makes you unique and why should people choose you, right? Because if you can't express it, then people may have a hard time understanding. Because let's back up a little bit. I talk to an awful lot of therapists, whether I was teaching at school or once they've graduated, they're out there and they say, I can help everybody, but I can help everybody. And while that could be true, depending on what you practice, that could be very well true. It's hard to target your marketing. It's hard to carry that message and get people to pay attention. If you're not being a little more targeted. Helping everybody is a little bit vague, and personally, I would question that. Can you? I mean, really? Can you help everybody? I don't know. So let's start here with you being able to identify what makes you unique and why should people choose you. Hold that thought. We're going to come back to it because we're going to have like a little meaty conversation about your values. I used to teach this in my corporate world. When I traveled around the country and talked to a lot of branch managers, business owners, franchise owners in their hiring processes, talking about their values. What is it that you value and how do people know that? So one of the questions that was asked is, what comes out of an orange when it's squeezed? Orange juice. What comes out of you when it's squeezed? What are your core values? So the values are not just preferences on how I like to live my life. The values I want to talk about here are your drop dead, stake in the ground, non-negotiable values, right? And they could be different for you than for me. And so I just listed a couple examples here of something you might hear in a massage therapist's world. I take care of my health, right? I value my health. How do I demonstrate it? Am I eating right? Am I exercising? Am I getting plenty of rest? Am I taking good care of myself? It's a tough one for therapists, right? Because of course we value our health and we value the health of that of our clients. But am I demonstrating it in a way that do people know your values without you stating them? Right? Because we all go through periods. I value my health. But there are times when I just can't get to it, when everybody else comes first, when I fall short, when I get desperate, when I get fearful, when money is low, right? I work my little butt off and health takes kind of a back seat. I don't know, that could be true for you as well. So I want you to be able to clearly define your values, but also take that big jump. How do you demonstrate it? And can people see that? So, I've worked with massage therapists who talk about their health all day long, and then they go home and drink it up and party it up and smoke their cigarettes, and they come in, smelling a little like they had a night, right? And so are they really do they really take care when you're doing all of that debauchery at night? It's okay if you don't, but we can't say we value something and then behave in a way that conflicts that on a regular basis. So that's just one example. I care about my clients. How do you demonstrate that? And I will say this is something we do really well. That the taking care of my health, I do most of the time. Sometimes, things get in the way and that's not my top priority. But I care about my clients, and my clients will tell you all day long, and you can see it in my Google reviews. We listen well. We take good notes in our studio so that one therapist can come in and know exactly what was done the day before, because we care and we want to get it right. And we want to make sure that we heard you. We ask a lot of questions. We dig in deep. And we're very present with our clients. So those are just two examples. Here's another one. Is family. We hear that all day long, right? Family is my priority. But are you working 60 hours a week? And are you really spending time with the kids? And are you on the ball field with them? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. This is really for you to dig in and really explore, what are your values? How are you demonstrating them? And then the ponder this question. This is really important. What happens when we're not living our values? If family is the most important thing to you, if taking care of your health is the most important thing to you, stake in the ground, but we can't, or we're unable to, maybe there's a crisis going on, or we just can't focus on these things. Well, what happens? Right? We feel disconnected. We are not happy. We can get depressed. We can be very confused, overwhelmed, anxiety. We're not sleeping well, right? So this value conversation we're having here isn't just about, a promotion, branding yourself and putting it out on a billboard somewhere. This is really about how are you living your life. And often this exercise can even create some awareness around the confusion, the walls that we're hitting, the successes we're not able to achieve because we're not living in congruence with our values. It's why I left corporate America. Okay, so you can pause this and dig in on that even if you want to keep going. This is really worth spending some time on. It'll really reveal a lot about your life and what's going on. And this is just kind of digging in deeper, really digging in, knowing yourself, describing yourself as an LMT. This goes back a couple slides. How would you describe yourself as a massage therapist, and what qualities make you unique? Okay, I mentioned earlier in the first segment about I was so lucky to have a business coach who told me, like, no, we're not naming your business all something fluffy and cutesy because nobody understands lymphatic anyway, and you don't want to make it tougher on them. So I did this exercise. The exercises that I'm giving you are things that I did in my early career to really help me create my identity. What qualities and skills make you unique? I do think my corporate background makes me unique. I was in operations, so I'm really good at having a tight process and making sure that it makes sense and it's easy to go from A to B to C to E to E. Whether that's just me taking care of my clients, and certainly as I have grown my staff, it's a process. It's easy. My professional background makes a difference in how I run my business. But that could be different for you. What qualities and skills make you unique? If you do prenatal and natal work on clients, and you've had babies and you love babies and you're a doula and you just live in that world, that's a big deal. And it needs to be stated really loudly and clearly. Who do you help? This is another way that I went to market myself, and I have heard from other coaches that do you want to draw a message about how you can help them, or do you want to get their attention by talking about the challenges they face? I chose the latter, right? So when we're going to talk about our 30-second pitch, our elevator pitch in just a minute. When I talk to people, I don't tell them about lymphatic drainage and the tools that I use and the method that I use. I don't talk about that at all. I talk about the people I help, right? I help people that are suffering with autoimmune, inflammation, lupus, Lyme disease, mold toxicity, Epstein-Barr. These are the people I help. And that's what wakes people up going, oh my gosh, my mother has lupus and she's suffering. Can you help her? All right. So who do you help? Talking about just pain. I mean, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of massage therapists over the last 13 years, and we help with pain. We sure do, but I think that's a little too vague. That's just my opinion. I would say make that tighter. Who do you help? What challenges, what maladies are they facing, so that they can quickly recognize that you are a solution to them? What kind of results do you achieve? Is it more mobility? Is it a quality of life? Do people sleep better? Are they out of pain? Is their posture better? Does their balance come back? Is their pregnancy more comfortable? Education and certifications, if that's relevant in your world, I would say it all day long. List it. I would be careful in terms of branding it and putting it out there to the public, because depending on your specialty and the types of clients that you want to attract, licenses and certifications and lots of acronyms after your name don't always mean something to them. So you want to weigh that. Add-ons or specialized equipment. We use a specialized tool in our practice, but nobody knows what it is. You know, I used to study it and I knew all the details and the specs and everything and the amperage and the volts and all of this because it's an electrical device. Nobody's asked. Nobody's asked in 13 years what it is that I use. So again, you want to weigh that. And what else sets you apart? Are there other aspects of your practice, your values, your interests, your client-centered philosophies that make you unique? Because there are, I don't know about you, here in Florida, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of massage therapists out there, oftentimes doing exactly what you do. So we need to get really clear on what makes you unique and special. And again, what are those 5 words? Knowing now what your values are and starting with that list we created 2 slides ago, has that changed at all? And oh, by the way, over to the far right here, the tip, this is also known as your unique selling proposition. If you take sales classes elsewhere, you'll hear it stated as a USP. What is your unique selling proposition? You've got one. I know you do. Even if you're just getting started, even if mostly what you're going to work on is just pain management, there's something special about you because you got in this industry for a reason. And we want to say that loud and clear. So here's our opportunity to say that loud and clear. Here's another writing exercise. So the elevator pitch, 30 seconds-ish, right? It's a way of introducing yourself, getting across a key point or 2, making a connection with someone. It's called an elevator pitch. This is kind of old school because it takes roughly the amount of time you'd spend riding in an elevator with somebody when they say, what do you do? What do you do? Right? And it's really a good habit to get in to say this concisely. This elevator pitch should be something that just rolls off your tongue. It's not something that's done quickly and can be done just like that, unless you want to do something in Chat GPT, but I chose my own. Let's try not to do that here, but if you need to, go ahead. So the elevator pitch goes way back, and I'm sure that many of you have been in groups, whether it's a networking group or, you know, having dinner with somebody or what have you, and you ask what they do and they go off on these stories that still don't really tell you. Maybe they tell you how they got started or why it appealed to them or the kind of work they do or the certifications that really, number one, it's hard to remember all that. And number 2, it still doesn't draw a picture. So I would get really, really tight on your elevator pitch so that people have a very clear idea in 30 seconds of either what you do or who you help or the maladies that you can help with. Draw that picture. And so here is an example. Hi, my name is Laura. I'm a licensed massage therapist here in Tampa Bay area, and I specialize in helping people with mobility challenges, whether it's recovering from surgery, managing a chronic condition, improving flexibility after an injury. My goal is to reduce pain, enhance movement, and help my clients regain their independence so they can enjoy life to the fullest. If you or somebody you know is struggling with mobility, I'd love to help them take the next step towards feeling and moving better. So doesn't that draw a picture? We're not just dealing with pain, headaches, migraines, right? Mobility. Oh my gosh, my grandmother. Oh my gosh, my girlfriend who just had hip surgery. Oh my gosh, my mother would benefit from this so much. Flexibility. She's been injured. Reduce pain, enhance movement, regain independence. So you see the difference in just saying, well, I'm a massage therapist and I got into it because my dad said I was really good with my hands. And, you know, I've always done this with my boyfriend and it really helps his headaches. Okay, that's good. It's not prepared. And it's also showing a little bit of a lack of professionalism. Wouldn't you agree? If you can't clearly, concisely, and confidently express who you are, what you do, or how you can help people. Okay, so I'm going to leave that here. That is your challenge right now, is to go back over your values. There hopefully is a worksheet attached on this YouTube page. And if not, those are things you can just draw out yourself. Write out your values and how you are demonstrating them. How do people know that those are what your values are? And then review that list of words or expressions that you've created, what makes you different. These are your values. And then you're going to zero in right here and talk confidently about who you are, what you do, what results you can achieve, who you're helping. Okay. Now it says here on the master worksheet, again, I'm hoping that worksheet is here on YouTube. If not, you can just jot those down, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.